Legitimates, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am making this fun Viking themed decor for my bathroom. It is a free design and I will show you where to get it. So I'm gonna go through every single step with you. Let's get started. So we are first going to open the xTool Creative Space app on your whatever you're using. I only ever tend to use my computer, but you can use your phone and a tablet and all other kinds of things. I personally have only ever done the phone once just to prove to myself that I could. I also find computers quicker. It does say it needs an update. We're going to do that later so that we can continue with the video. So this is it officially open. We're going to come over to the left and click on the Atomm with 2 M's. And this is where you can find designs that are both free as well as some that you can purchase. So you can scroll down and see what's been popular lately. So you can see here, this is number 1, a little tea light holder. These are all things that are popular, or you can search for something specific. You can see in my search history, I've been looking up Viking things for my husband. So you just pick something and then these pop up. Now, all of these ones here are free that have been designed by other people. So you just click on it and then you can either download it with the black button or open in the xTool Creative Space, which is XCS. So we're just gonna open it. You can see here as well that this is for a 40 watt. So just keep that in mind. You will need to change the settings, but here is the design. And I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like it's missing. This is a little thing to tell you that you have a different laser to the one that was recommended, and do you want it to alter the settings for you? My machine usually automatically connects to SCS. I have it on my Wi-Fi rather than a cord, just to make it easier. So we're going to click down the bottom and then change the color of the stuff so that we can see it a bit easier. So you click it, and then over here as well, it says it's ignored. So we need to turn those on. That's a little output. So output on means obviously it's going to work. And if you turn output off, it will stay in the design, but it won't translate over to the laser. So I'm just going to change all of the colors so I can see them better. And then move them around. So we've got the original design, which is actually an image. When you click on it, it's not an SVG. You can turn it into one. It's going to engrave it as an image at the moment. So you can click trace and it will create the outline, which is the equivalent of the green that you can see here. I don't need it, so I'm going to delete it. And then we're going to copy and paste this design. So we're going to right click copy. You can also Control C and Control V. So one of them we want to cut and one of them we just want to score. So again, I always try and make red the cut lines. I just find it easier in my brain to understand that red is cut and then usually blue, green or purple is score and black is engrave. That's just how my brain operates. You can do it however you want though. So these are the things that we've now got. So what we want to do is this one will be cut separately to sit on top. And then this one over here will be scored so that we know where to put all the bits, because this inner bit is not attached to the outer bit. So if you select all, which is click your mouse and drag, you can go to align and then click align center and everything will be perfectly lined up for you. That way everything is directly in the center. That's why it's called align center. Now I'm going to change this to 100% power, 9 millimeters per second and 2 cuts. I like to always do 2 cuts. I find no matter how slow you go, 1 cut just doesn't necessarily get all the way through it. That's just what I found. So these are my preferred settings. You are of course allowed to pick whatever. I've also realized that I forgot to cut the outer circle under the scored. So when you click on the actual colors down the bottom, it said mixed. So we've now fixed that. We're going to go score here. I like to do this as fast as possible usually. And we're not trying to get a deep score line. This is just to tell us where things go. We don't need it deep. So you can pick any of these. I'm going to pick something fairly fast up the top here. So these are just how dark you want it, but the higher up you go, generally speaking, the faster it's going to go. So I'm going to pick probably that one. And then we're all good. So now I want to kind of line them up close together and I've already got my wood in the machine. So we're going to click auto detect. So it has a little sensor that will go down until it hits the wood to tell the laser how far away it needs to be. I love this feature. It is probably my single most favorite reason why I use the XCS. Automated, work out how high you need it. I love that for me. So then we're going to click on here and go to rectangle, because we've got a rectangle piece of wood. If you had a round piece of wood that you wanted to cut it out of, you pick the round one. Now you can't see it, but I am in fact putting it into the corner, and then you hit the button on the machine and it will create a dot. Give it a second. There, the first dot in the top right, and then I drag it to the opposite corner of the wood and it creates the rectangle or square, whatever piece of wood you're using. And then you can come back to the screen and click end marking and done. So that is the amount of wood I have basically. So I want to make this as big as possible to fit within the piece of wood. Now, that's not big enough. Even if we do that all the way to there, see the gap between the cut and the other one? You want to try and make that much less. Now, see here, I went to click it and it shifted. So I hit Control Z to put it back, and then I'm going to select both, right click and group. So now those will move as one, and I don't have to worry about things going out of line. So you want it to get fairly close to the edge of the wood. I like to put it pretty close in the corner and then just move it a smidgeny bit away, just to make sure that we don't have a flat bit on our circle, because it will look very out of place. So that's, see how close that is? That's nice and close, and then we can select them all and drag them up to fit the whole bit of wood for us. That's just as big as, I mean, you could do it slightly bigger if you wanted to do one at a time, but I am happy with this size. So you can see it is slightly out of being a perfect circle, but they match, so we're going to leave it. And that's fine. And then I just want to double check that I've got the settings correct, because it has been known to happen. So here is about where I'm like, oh, I've got them wrong, but I didn't. It's fine. That one scores, that one cuts. The cut lines, you can see the outer circle and then all of those pieces. I love that little bit on the side where you can see it. So when you get to this screen, make sure you've already closed the lid of your machine. Otherwise, it will come up with an error here. Been there, done that. And it takes 35 minutes and 46 seconds to cut in full. Now, obviously, I am going to speed that up because we will be here forever otherwise. And this little thing comes up every time you've got high power with a low speed, just to make sure that you're aware it might catch fire. So I have sped this up to 100 times its normal speed, just so that we're not here forever watching this happen. But you can see everything that is cutting goes over twice, just to make sure that it cuts all the way through, and it does still miss like a tiny little bit, but that's all right. So now we're outside. I am using some black paint and some walnut colored stain and varnish combined. I'm lazy, so I love it when the stain and the varnish are together. You need to take, there's one little piece, so don't forget to not lose that. Make sure you paint it, make sure it's up the right way. I'm basically putting everything pretty much where they live just to ensure that I can paint them. And then I'm staying a fair amount away. If you get too close with the paint, it can pool and look terrible. So you're better off to do lots of coats, well, not coats, I'm doing one solid coat, but like lots of back and forth motions to make sure that it all gets done. And then make sure you shake up the stain. And then I'm just going to use a paintbrush and paint it on the same way as the wood grain. So, well, I'm trying to. So I can see that there's a wood grain in the plyboard. It's why I like plyboard more than I like MDF. So I'm trying to follow the grain and paint it on. Depending on how dark you want, you can absolutely do a second coat. And it goes a bit funny, which is why you see me keep going over the same area. It kind of almost bubbles up. It's probably me and not the stain, but I honestly don't know. So I just keep going over it to make it better. You don't have to do the parts that are going to have the design over the top, but because it is so fine, I personally find it easier just to paint the whole thing at once. This is not sped up. This is about how long it takes. It's not terribly long. Also, probably wear gloves. I'm not, so you can see me here. This is about where I'm like, okay, try not to paint your fingers, and then I give up. And then I touch it there to hold it in place. I now have both stain on my finger and a fingerprint in the design. So now I have to go and fix the fingerprint as well. So I'm just trying to kind of hold it in place. Gloves would have absolutely been a great idea. So I just got a big glob of it on my finger. I'm just making peace with the fact that I'm going to get it on my finger and go immediately inside once I'm finished to get it off. So now that that's painted, I planned on doing a second layer. So I'm going to take some Glad Wrap, or whatever you guys call it. This brand is called Cling Wrap. And we're just going to wrap up the paintbrush. This is so I don't have to wash it out. This is not water-based, so it's much harder to clean out. And then if you want to, you can do a second one. I have found my new favorite super glue in the world. It is this Loctite bottle with the squishy sides. I love it. It works great. You can get it to come out as fast or as slow as you want. I find the cheaper ones, we're just not friends. So this is my new favorite super glue in life. I've also taken to super gluing these instead of using wood glue just because it dries quicker, like way quicker. So you can see I can squish the side and then control the flow. We're going to put a little bit of glue everywhere. You want to make sure that you put enough that it won't dry instantly. And you want to put it on all the bits so that they won't lift or buckle with time, because they might otherwise. So you can see here, I'm just making sure every single bit has a bit of glue. Not too much. You don't want it to spew out the sides. So that's another thing. You got to try and find your happy place between enough glue and not quite too much. And then right about here, I get it on my finger. It is now stuck to me. That's always fun. I did put a little bit too much on some of the parts. And then you just match up the score lines with, see, stuck to my finger. Match up the score lines with the actual piece. It should line up beautifully. And then I just put a little bit of pressure on it. I'm doing that to my hands because I do have glue. And then I also line that up so I know pretty much where it's going to sit so that the glue won't dry before I line it up better. I run out of super glue. This is empty. I lent it to my husband and apparently he used more than I thought. So that's why I'm shaking it. But because of that, I am putting a layer around the edge and then a layer on that inner circle as well. In a perfect world, I would have done all of the individual parts in between. But like I said, I've run out of glue. So I'm just making sure that there's enough to go around like that. And then we line it up. And that's it. You put a lot of pressure on it once you've got it lined up. I'm trying to kind of hover it over until it's in place. And then I'm just going to smush my hands over the top. Another thing you can do is get like a big heavy book and put that on top. Or flip it over and put it on the back if you're worried about getting glue on your book. But that's pretty much done now. That super glue is very fast acting, so it's good to go. I also have these little kind of sticky wall things. So they're removable and they're Velcro. So they come, each side is it's like Velcro or hook and loop tape. So one side's fluffy and one side's a bit more spiky. I like to stick them together before I put them on. This just ensures that when you stick it on the wall, they will be perfectly lined up. So we're going to flip this over. I don't know which way is the top. I was not paying attention. If I had a thought about it though, I could have followed the grain of the wood. Too late now. We're going to just stick them on anywhere. Try and do the same color. So I've pulled off the green side and then put it on the other side. And that is it. It is ready to go on your wall. So thank you all for watching. I hope this has been inspirational for you. And don't forget to like my video and subscribe to see the next one. Okay, bye now.